Hi, I'm Kristen from ComeSaveAway.com, and this week I am making raspberry jam because it's my favorite and I love it, and it actually helps our family save a ton of money because jam and jelly is really expensive, which I'm sure many of you know. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be coming to my site, because you want to save money, because that's what I do. So this week we are making the raspberry jam, and we're using the Ball Real Fruit Pectin. And the first step, obviously, in making jam is cleaning the raspberries. So that's what I'll be doing. So now that we have our raspberry, almost lost them, our raspberries clean, now the first thing we get to do is actually make it. Well, I guess it's not the first thing since this was the first thing. So the next thing we get to do is actually make it. And when we use this, I follow the directions, otherwise things get messed up. And this says that for every pint, you need to have 1 1/3 of the fruit, 1 1/3 cups of the fruit. So I have my 1 cup and I have my 1/3 cups. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it out and put it in here. And once you put the fruit in here, in order to prepare it for the pints of jam, you need to mash it with the potato masher. So I'm going to do the first, and you have to do it in layers for a little bit. So what I would recommend doing is measuring it out and keep track in your head, if I can get these berries under control. So you're going to put in 1, that's 1 cup, and then 1/3 cups. Wow, I'm going to have a lot more jam than I thought. Well, hopefully. And then 1/3 cups. And then we mash it with the masher. And you gotta do it in these layers. And remember to keep in your head what exactly it is that you have. Like this is like 1. Like I have 1 of the 1 1/3 cups, which I know sounds confusing, but that's how I do it because that's the only way I can. I use like a hashtag thing, or not a hashtag, a check mark thing. Just a pad of paper is what I use. So, yay! Okay, so now that I have finished all of the mashing, which was fun, by the way, I would recommend, and I should have said this earlier, but I'd recommend filling this with water, because this is your canning thing. This is what you, ooh, that's hot. This is what you need to can. So I'd fill this with water, and then obviously turn it on just so you get it boiling, because this water takes a long time to heat up. So I'd do that first. That should have been before washing the berries. That was my bad. But, so turn that on, and you're golden. So now that I am done with mashing the berries, the next thing we get to do is stir in the pectin and actually start cooking it. So you need to turn your berries on so it can start warming up. And the pectin says for every 1 1/3 cups of berries, you will need 1 1/2 tablespoons of the pectin. So how I always look at it is I always look at each 1 1/3 cup as 1 unit, since each 1 1/3 cup equals 1 pint anyways. So I have 4 of the pints in here, which means that I will need 4 of the 1 1/2 tablespoons, which equals 6 tablespoons. Yay for math. Thank you to my math teacher and dad, he taught me. Anyway, so you're going to need 6 of these, and what you're going to do is you're just going to slowly, hold on, I want to make sure I measure this right. I don't want to screw it up on the video, that'd be bad. So you just want to slowly, I'm just going to put a little bit in, and I'm actually going to wait a second because then I want to stir. Slowly stir it in, and then you're going to keep doing that all the way until you hit like whatever amount of berries you have, or whatever amount of the pectin that you need. But remember, for each 1 1/3 unit, you need 1 1/2 tablespoons. So just make sure you do the math correct. Hi. Okay, so I forgot in my last little clip of the video to say that this needs to be, the pectin, you need to stir it in with the berries that you have, and you need to bring it to a full rolling boil that cannot be stirred down over high heat, stirring constantly. Fun. Okay, so I'm not quite yet at the rolling boil that can't be stirred down, because I'm stirring it down pretty good right now. But what you're going to need to do is right after that, you're going to need to put in the sugar, and I know that I won't have time to explain it because I'll be busy dumping in the sugar, so I want to do the video right now. So for every 1 1/3 cup of berries that you have in here, which I have 4 and some change, but you're going to need to put in you have two different options. You can do the traditional jam, which is super sugary, or you could do the reduced sugar jam, which isn't quite as sugary, but still kind of sugary. So if you want to do the reduced sugar jam, for every 1 1/3 cups of berries that you have in here, you're going to need to put in 1 cup of sugar. That's simple. And then for the traditional jam, if you just want it more sugary, for every 1 1/3 cups that you have in here, you're going to, hold on guys, you're going to need to put in 1 2/3 cups of sugar in here. So yay, I'm doing the traditional one because I'm kind of in a sweet mood, so yay. Okay, so now that I can't seem to stir this boil down, I'm adding some of the sugar. And I know this is a ton of sugar, but what? Don't stir it in that fast. Do not stir it in that fast. Do it slower because you're not supposed to do it that fast. But now you get to add the sugar, so yay. Okay, so now that all of the sugar is added and we're looking really jammy here, we can just, what we need to do is we need to bring it back up to a full rolling boil, and you got to stir it constantly, so remember to keep stirring. Just keep stirring it. And then you're going to keep it at that boil for a minute, for a full minute, and then after you can take it off. And if there's any foam on top, you can skim that off. Last year when I did the strawberry jam, there was foam that I had to skim off, and then I don't know how raspberry will be, so we will see since I am trying it for the first time with you guys. But you can skim the foam off. The foam, no foam involved. I don't know why I said that. But you can skim the foam off, and then you can put it in the pint jars, which are over there, and I'll grab for you later. And then you're going to actually can it, which is the fun part. We can because we can. I saw that on an apron once. I should have got it. Oh, buyer's regret. Anyways, so bring it to a full boil, again, after the sugar. Keep it there for a minute, and then you can take it off the heat. Okay, so I forgot to explain something. So I have my wonderful husband in the background stirring constantly until it gets to a rolling boil. So what we have is one of these nifty little things, which is a magnet that you use to picked up more than one, these caps that you use for canning. So what you're going to need to do is you need to put the caps in water so they start to get warm. So I have just a little saucepan with just a little bit of water just so it can stay there, and we can put, just so it can get warm, and we can put these little things in there. And you have the magnet so that you don't have to reach into boiling water, and all you have to do is go and get it, and it's good. And the setup that I have over here for canning is we have the can, obviously we're stirring constantly in the background, and we have the little funnel thing, and I use the cup measure. So I just use the cup measure once it's come to a full rolling boil for a minute, and then I scoop and I scoop. Oops, that was really loud, sorry guys. And I scoop and I scoop until it gets in there and it's completely full, and then we put the lid on and we put the little top on, we have it nice and tight, and then we put it in the canner, which I will explain later. Okay, so I have pulled the stuff, as you can see, off of the heat because it was getting really boiling, and it was for the minute and everything. So as you can see, we have just a little bit of foam right here, and that's what it should look like, and that's what it will look like. And I'm just going to pull it off and put it in the bowl that I had the sugar in because I don't like to dirty too many bowls. So that's what we have to do next. Okay, so now that we have all of the foam out of here, what we're going to do is we're going to scoop it up and use our little funnel here. I have my funnel here. And put it in the jar, and you're going to pour it into the jar until it's full. You're going to need a little bit of air, so put it right under the rim is what I usually do. And so fill it up to right under the rim, but you still need that space for the air so that it can actually like can itself. Otherwise, everything we just did was completely pointless. So you're just going to fill up all of your pints that you have, and it will be good, hopefully. Okay, so now that all of our little jam jars here are full, which I ended up with 5, so yay for me, more jam. What we're going to do is you need to wipe down, I guess, the rims of the jam jars. That way it seals properly when you pop the tops on, and then when you screw the top back on. So you have to make sure that you, again, leave the space, as you can see just from the video there. There's a space there that I did leave so that it could seal properly in all of them here. And you just need to be careful, it's warm, it just come from a rolling boil. So just wipe it down so it seals properly, and we're good here. Okay, so now that we've wiped down all of the tops, we're going to put the lids on. So we get to use this nifty little thing again. And I have, as you can see, what I have here is I put all the lids in this little thing, in my little saucepan. I put it on the stove, warm them up. So I'm just going to pull it out with this cool little magnetic thing. And my husband has the rag, he's the video man. And you're just going to dry it off so wonderfully, nice and dry. And we just plop it on this baby. Then we twist the top on, but not too much. You don't want to put it on too much or too tight, and you'll have issues getting it off. And we're good. Okay, so now that we have the lids and everything on top of the jams, what we did is we put it in here. Sorry about the squeaking, that's my dog. So we put them in here, in our little canner thing here. And what we're going to do next is we're going to lower it down into the water. You're going to want about 1 to 2 inches of water above it. And then you're going to put the lid on this big thing on. Bring it to, crank the heat up, bring it to a boil. You're going to need it boil for about 10 minutes. And then once you're done with the boil, you take the top off. Cece, stop, I'm doing a video. Sorry guys. Once it's done with the boiling, after the 10 minutes is up, you're going to take the top off. You're going to pull these out with this fancy little finger so you don't hurt your fingers. And you're going to set it down and you're going to wait for the top to pop. And you'll know it pops because it literally makes a popping noise. And then you're good. We're good to go. So yay! So I always eat the foam because it's amazing. And oh boy, is it good. You will love this raspberry jam. Okay, so now that they've boiled for 10 minutes, we pulled it out of our little canner with the fancy little grabbers. We've set them here, we spaced them apart. A couple of them have popped already, and I'm hoping one pops on the video because you'll hear it go like, and that was a bad example of a pop. So now what you do is you just wait for them to pop, and don't touch the lids or anything because it kind of messes with the popping. But if they don't pop, the jam's fine. All you need to do is just recan it and redo it because the jam is fine. It's just the canning process didn't work. So, darn, I was hoping one would pop. I don't want to keep the video going for too long, but that's all you need to do. And that is how I jam. So this is what happened when Mom and Dad can. You make a mess of our shoes, and is that, do you hide your bone? You hid your bone, Cece? Did you? Or was I not supposed to see it? I probably wasn't, was I?